boys and girls, welcome back to the channel. And my webcam seems to have taken a permanent vacation overnight, so there we are. Welcome back to Black Ice in Hearts of Iron 4. Version number is 165, and this is summer 2025 recording this as of versions. I am going to assume that you have watched part 1 of this, which was recorded back in, was it December 1941, like half a year in game. And if you followed that, you remember that I was grinding myself senseless over at Moscow, which I have captured now. See, here's an update that I learned from the excellent Black Ice Discord channel. When the Paradox base game deploys reinforcements, which the AI often does in the capital, Moscow, they enter kind of in a separate zone or area. So they're not being immediately attacked without any organ equipment and pushed out. No, they're staying there. I wouldn't say they're invisible, but they're invisible to an ongoing combat there. So they're gonna sit there without being attacked inside the capital, even if the German player is attacking Moscow. And they're gonna rebuild equipment and organization, and once you finish the battle with the pre-existing troops defending Moscow and have them retreat, all of a sudden magically appears new defending troops, whereas in fact those have been there all along, just reinforcing from the reinforced queue. It's not a bug, it is a feature. I wasted a lot of time and I wasted a lot of equipment assaulting Moscow for months. But it finally fell when because all you have to do is quit attack and reset it as soon as you notice, because you can see these new, they're kind of like two different stacks. So when you learn that, that makes it possible to take cities, but it's still hard. But it was impossible. I didn't understand what was going on. So that was the end of the winter offensive. No, sorry, fall. Winter offensive 1941. I managed to grab, as far as I remember, Voronezh, and maybe even push. I think I pushed a little bit over here. Took out this Saratov supply hub during the early winter. I'm gonna tell you about the Russian winter offensive after this. And I also managed to snipe Stalingrad and get in there. Yeah, I got to Stavropol as well. So that's the extent. And equipment wise, I was at 97%, and my army was at 2.8 million. So I was doing quite good with equipment after the summer. Sure, I was under 100% as when Barbarossa started during the summer, but I was doing okay. Then comes the winter offensive, and we all know what happens. Since then, I've learned that many very experienced players, they play with a smaller, higher quality army. So I guess they have less losses. As you can see here, I suffered over 1 million losses. That is not very impressive, I realize now. But I do still have 500,000 manpower available. Of course, this is because I have what you might call bad recruitment laws, 3 years and 18 to 35 age perspective. But I still have recruits in my manpower pile. That is not my main problem now. So the winter offensive, I managed to hold onto Leningrad. They did a lot of pushes around Rzhev here, but they didn't, well, you know, they got a province or two. Nothing serious. I'm still holding this line. They didn't really quite push hard around Moscow. I guess the terrain, they took a couple of the tiles. I'm gonna call them provinces. Well, actually, that's a bad idea. Provinces are these big things. Okay, tiles. They managed to take a couple of, I want to say hexes from board games that have 6-sided hexagons, but they're called tiles. So if I say hexagon or tile or even province, I probably mean one single area of the game. I know these are provinces, but yeah, in my mind. And obviously they pushed me out of the Saratov, excuse me, the Saratov supply hub here. They pushed me back here towards Voronezh. Yeah. So I was sitting around here after the winter offensive. The winter offensive wasn't that serious. They pushed me out of Stalingrad and all the way back towards, well, out here in the Morozovsk, towards. I was building another supply depot in Milorovo, but it's too expensive. I don't think it would help me that much. It was gonna end being constructed in October 42, and I calculated that I would be further east at that time, so I stopped building it. Anyways, the most serious Soviet winter offensive was actually down in the south. A bit surprising. I never experienced that. They managed to take back Stavropol, and they pushed all the way over to Krasnodar. They had what I believe are scripted, free, new, very, very powerful tank division that deployed. And at the first push, I saw like 9 of them here, and it was really hard for me to stop them. I didn't have quality troops down here, and I was a bit surprised. And I also missed a couple of days of their winter offensive starting. Then comes early spring, and I counterattack, cut them off inside Krasnodar, and I eliminate 9 tank divisions. Since then, I learned another important lesson from ChatGPT, actually AI, not from the Discord channel. If you manage to surround and annihilate, eliminate scripted divisions, the equipment inside them is kind of not in the game, and you don't scavenge them. Because I was thinking, oh, I'm gonna get a lot of free Russian Soviet tanks. I got almost none. Oh, well, I actually got none, right? Because they're all scripted equipment. But I guess it's a good idea, because otherwise any German player in Black Ice would finish the summer of 1941 when you eliminate a lot of Soviet troops with so many tanks and equipment that, well, tanks that, you know, it breaks the game. So if we check how many T-34s I actually managed to implement in my army, it's only 23 of them. And after eliminating 9 tank divisions, and as I'll tell you, I made a second tank push of around, I think, 9 or 10 more tank divisions, because they did another push late spring towards, I don't think they quite reached inside Krasnodar, but outside. So I did the same maneuver twice. Manstein's backhand blow outside Krakow historically happened in kind of the same way. The Soviets overextended in their somewhat successful Russian winter offensive of 1941, and he encircled and destroyed a lot of troops, opening up for a successful summer offensive in 1942. So that's what I thought I would do. And from my last streaming session, you know that Ethiopia was eliminated in this game playthrough, and it makes it a lot harder in Africa. But I'm kind of happy because I'm playing a semi-role-playing historical game, so sometimes it gets too hard for me, and I cry and whine about it, and I wish it was a bit easier. But I kind of want the opposition from an AI player, even if it's scripted and a bit of cheating, and I certainly are getting this in this playthrough. My last playthrough, United Kingdom did not eliminate Ethiopia, and it resulted in them abandoning the El Alamein front, and I could just walk into Alexandria, which resulted in all of the Middle East falling, and Iran joining my side, and it just felt a little bit too easy in the Middle East. If you don't want to win and exploit at all cost. And I suppose I fundamentally is looking for a challenging, fun, somewhat historically similar experience in Black Ice, and I'm certainly getting it this time. So anyways, as I was saying, after Ethiopia had fallen, the new Commonwealth armies from down there pushed me all the way back from El Alamein, very historically, with Rommel desperately defending because he has a small Afrika Korps, Deutsche Afrika Korps here, and he was pushed out of all the way back to Benghazi. And here the Italians sent a lot of reinforcements that they could not supply, even though I have upgraded Benghazi port to level 10. So they were starving themselves into incredible defeat. But I guess they were cannon fodder for a while, because somehow the Brits, they stalled there. And I saw a little you know, I scramble to retreat out here. It's very slow going in these low infra provinces, and I micromanaged very, very heavily. And I didn't save scum, but I managed to get my Africa Corps out. They resupplied around Benghazi. And during the spring, I noticed that maybe I could push along the coast, take the port of Derna and Tobruk. This turns into more of an after action report, AAR, instead of a overview of August 1942. But bear with me. And I surrounded a pocket of around 20 Commonwealth division. I ignored them and let my Italian allies, AI, controlled, take care of them, and I pushed towards Sidi Barrani, and I got all the way to El Alamein. But I couldn't get into Alexandria. They had enough reinforcements here, and also my supply is strained. I don't have a red supply, but I, as soon as I move one province, tile, hex, area, further, I need to keep some of my divisions further back here. Okay, I don't have a division in Sidi Barrani. I probably should put something in there. I am keeping my one scripted 5th Leichte Afrika Brigade in the Western Desert, because that means I can build some forts here in a couple of days. But how many days are it? 14 days. I guess I'll put this infantry division back in Sidi Barrani. I don't dare to leave any ports, because Italians, they won't garrison them. As you can see here in North Africa, I even have a full division Tobruk. It just eats up supplies standing behind the front line at El Alamein. And then I have these blue guys are small garrison regiments with 1 artillery and 3 and dug in. And well, I don't need my military police for Libya, but if I push further. Anyways, I have to garrison the small port. Otherwise, the Commonwealth now, they can just land 10 divisions behind your front. I have a airborne paratrooper Fallschirmjäger regiment in Benghazi. I have nothing in Tunisia because I'm stretched as it is. I have these yellow guys these are regiments as well. You can see by the 3 lines, so they're very small units, but it's a placeholder. It's better than nothing. All right. And somehow the British, mostly, there's some Americans here, as you can see, landed in Casablanca. The Vichy regime was totally unprepared, because apparently holding the borders towards Germany is better. Thank you, AI. You know what? You can go into country defense setting. Oops. Okay, I guess okay, what happened here? I'm just gonna have them defend Africa and nothing else. Not even Europe. Just because screw you. So, but I've been holding on out there with my Wand Panzer Division in the mountains. Yes, I know. But I didn't have anything to use there. And am I now gonna get pushed out of my only airbase in the area? Oh, I already lost the airbase. It's over here, Casablanca. Okay, so I guess it doesn't matter. But I'm being slowly pushed back here. As you can see, I can't match them. I don't have the forces in Africa. So somehow I need to find out. I was not going to talk about that. But I am sending 2 divisions from El Alamein over to Algeria now. So if you see my North Africa headquarters here, I have a couple of small garrison brigades. Oh, this is my Algeria army. And I could name it North. Let's see, what name do we have? Near East, Balkans, North Africa. Yeah, you don't. Iberia. That's pretty close. West Africa. Right. So let's call it West Africa. So that's not a lot to hold a full Commonwealth Algerian invasion. Operation Torch. We have Rommel controlling the high quality forces in the Western Desert, but it's not enough to take Alexandria. Sorry, that's a long rant, but these 20 divisions were eliminated by the Italians. They slowly strangled that pocket and killed it. But I was never strong enough or had supply enough to push. I guess I improved the infra here to 4 now, but it's still it's a little bit better. That's why I'm not on red supplies, but I can barely hold LLMA supply-wise. I probably need to do some sniping, exploiting, and land. I have 3 full marine divisions in Greece. And I guess I've been too busy on the Eastern Front that I really haven't supervised. I know the Death Stack British Navy is still running around here. I have a bit to say about this area naval-wise later on. Sorry, that's a huge parenthesis for the ongoing spring offensive in Russia. As I said, I did 2 pockets in the south, in Caucasus, with eliminating almost a dozen tank divisions each time. So obviously I had strong forces here under one of my best leaders, Steiner, which is now a level 6 leader with excellent stats, especially planning, very nice logistics and combined arms. He's like a motorist expert. He's commanding here in the south. Anyways, I started to push, but the going was slow because I am somewhat of a beginner. I'm not maybe an intermediate Black Ice player, and I'm not a total beginner, but my offensive elite divisions are not as powerful as they could be or should be. So it took me quite a while to create a pocket around this area here, halfway between Stalingrad and Rostov. But I managed to catch almost 18 infantry divisions, and I was feeling pretty good about myself. This is like late spring, early summer. So 3 pockets in the south. That's why you can see, well, not why, but we have almost 6 million Soviet losses now. So I've been putting the hurt on them, but not enough for 1942. After the summer is almost done. So what happened during the summer? I tried to push towards this supply depot out here in the middle, but obviously I ran out of supplies. So I couldn't reach it. The amount of Soviet forces with organization was too great, and I couldn't reach it. That's why you see this bulge into the front lines. So now I've been late summer. I turned down towards Caucasus because it would be nice to capture Baku, but I'm not sure. I need to bite off smaller chunks, and also the 2nd Panzer Army here in the south. It's a bit stronger right now. It's not as worn out as my central forces, Heeresgruppe Center, under Guderian, or actually it's the 1st Panzer Army. Yeah, you can see it, but my strength level is really low and on all my tank divisions here, because they made a push from outside Voronezh here. They pushed northwards, trying to create encirclements, but I couldn't get any encirclements. And you're saying, okay, so you need a couple of fast exploitation divisions. Look at these high quality panzer divisions. First, they're scripted, so you get it, yeah, because I play with historical units. But I have now made them into default units. And look at the template. I have light tanks and some, these are really fast divisions. And I also equipped them with uber fast German light tanks only. So, but I never got well, I guess they have a couple of fast French tanks as well. I never got that gap that you usually get in vanilla. There was always 1 or 2 straggling Soviet divisions behind, stopping my exploitation. I never got a hole in the line. And I put the best quality troops I had of my entire army here. And I wasn't restricted by supply at the beginning of the offensive. And I had green air. I don't know. I had truck motorization priority. I did everything. I think I did everything right. Maybe what I did wrong was push and play historically, trying to make an offensive and circle. I should probably have created a gap in the line, let the stupid AI move into the pre-prepared pocket, just like down here in Krasnodar, and encircled and killed off a couple of divisions, and then rinse and repeat, and then at the end of the summer with my fresh forces I would have advanced up to here. Instead I pushed a fairly strong front line. You can see the troop density of the Soviet AI is around 3 or even 4 divisions per hex tile area. And I had a huge bunch of divisions, almost up to a dozen, in one province that I herded, and I tried to encircle it by outflanking it, because I had enough to keep that super stack under attack and push on the both of the flanks of that stack. But I could never encircle it. Very, very frustrating. And then slowly I started to run out of supplies. I removed allied supply. I had full motorization, but it didn't happen. And now my tank forces, although experienced and high quality, are very worn out. And I had to pause, reconsolidate, and make a total overhaul of my tank forces. I'll show you a bit later about that. So basically, the spring with counteroffensives was a great success, but the summer offensive in itself was a disappointment. Actually, a huge disappointment. I mean, it's 1942. I'm supposed to do. This is when I'm supposed to reach Saratov, encircle and take the supply depot and eliminate them. And I also, after killing that 18 infantry divisions around here, I pushed towards Stalingrad, and I totally ran out of supplies, and I couldn't reach here. And I couldn't reach here. So I couldn't go anywhere. Supply is a killer. So now you say, why don't you build railroads? Well, they are expensive, and I have level 4 railroad all the way down to Rostov. You go and play and build level 4 railroad and tell me how much you like spending all that civilian construction production capacity. It's super expensive, but yet it's not enough. So you're caught between, oh, you should have more stronger panzer divisions. Well, what if they ran out of supply? Well, then you build better railroads. I mean, you don't have the industrial capacity to do all this. So the thing to do is actually probably fight further to the west, more defensively, closer to your own supply sources, and kill more Russians. That is a mistake I did, but it doesn't feel like historical gameplay. It's kind of a little bit of a AI scripted Black Eyes issue. It makes sense. It wouldn't be quite an exploit, but it would feel kind of bad. I mean, I want to play a bit historical, and I think I did, and it kind of failed. And the rest of the front was kind of quiet. So my main problem now, compared to back in the winter of 41, is that, as you can see, I am at 95% field strength. That means I am lacking 5%. And I was almost at 2.9 million troops, and I've now disbanded further infantry divisions, and I'm down to 2.6. Well, nominal strength, I guess, is 2.7. Right. And I think I have around 3,500 tanks in the field, which is good. I have micromanaged so that I gotten the French tanks out. I emptied out all my tanks. I actually emptied my stocks too much and created too many weak panzer divisions of different sorts. I'll show you a bit about that if you're interested. But as you can see, I am lacking 150 medium tanks. I'm lacking light tanks. I even got the French Char B1s out in the field. I'm lacking like 100 cavalry tanks. You know, I just did a reorganization, so maybe I have a little bit of my stockpile being moved around from different divisions. I'm lacking medium assault guns. It seems I have a surplus of light tanks, but these are mostly Panzer 1s that I'm converting to utility vehicles. So, okay, I'm 1 month behind on production of high quality German medium tanks. But anyways, and if you see my production, I have 77 military factories on armored fighting vehicles production. But this is my new goal, to increase the Panzerwaffe, because I feel I'm lagging behind there. Playing historically, I have produced Panzer 3s, which is probably a mistake because they probably have less soft attack and more hard attack. So I probably should have gone with a lot of Panzer IVs instead. I think that's the meta. But I played historically and used both because my divisions are... Well, now I don't have those 13 different templates anymore, the historical templates. I just figured that they're too bad. I needed to get rid of a couple of battalions types like heavy artillery and medium artillery. I'm not building that. So I consolidated them into more manageable, and then they're only combat with 22 respectively and 24. So they're a bit weak. And they still use light artillery because I haven't been able to build enough mountain pack artillery, which I'm using, even though I have like 30 factories on it. But I'm slowly converting my historical units into one unified division design. So I've been working a lot with this lately. That's probably what I'm talking about. And I don't know if you reach these types of experience if you start on experience level 11, train yourself, you have non-historical unit gameplay, and you just use them to blitz during 41, 42. Will you reach these high levels of experience on your Panzer divisions? I've done a lot of micromanaging to just keep them viable, and I used a lot of shitty, crappy French tanks, I guess, burnt off the stocks that I want to get rid of anyways. What's left in the field now, let's see here, ought to be, you know, well, still have bunch of French D2s, but they're decent, aren't they? I think they are. So the good thing is, I guess my bad tanks are gone, low durability due to attrition and fighting. And whatever I'm gonna build from now on is gonna be good, really good tanks. So my Panzerwaffe is in a bit of a problem. And also my infantry, by all means, only 95, even though I keep disbanding units. It's really hard. And talking about production, I have 426 military factories, and I am building, I think, like 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I'm building 8. So I have a big, I guess I've been playing the long game, built too many civilian factories, built up my infantry, I used them in 41, 42, I had a bit crap panzer forces. I thought it was going to be enough. It certainly would have been enough in vanilla, but this is Black Ice, right? So my next game playthrough is going to be a better Panzerwaffe. I learned that mistake during this campaign. Air-wise, not gonna blab. I'm still on 4,000 planes. I'm still on 2,000 fighters. This is the same, and I have been killing a lot of Soviet airplanes, but not quite as favorably as I would have preferred. I lost 500 fighters. Here. As you can see, I killed 1,500, so it's 3-to-1 ratio, but the supply and the range, and it's not optimal fighting over these provinces far away. I built up a couple of air bases here, so it looks better now than it used to. And I never had enough air to contest the Commonwealth in Africa. I'm doing okay in Germany. I have some elite squadrons here, and I built up the anti-air. So I'm not afraid of bombing of the Reich, which is good long term for my industrial pumping out. They're bombing northern Italy now with 319 bombers unescorted. Show you my elite forces. They're under the Reich bomber defense. See here, all my aces are here, and you have experience level 11. Let's see if we can get one air unit. Oh, look at this. We have one at experience level 12. Cool. And what's good is that I've been pushing, what do you call it when you research ahead? Pushing. In 200 days, I'm gonna get the last MA 109 version. So this is 1944 model. So I'm very much ahead technologically, even if I don't have the numbers. I do have a little bit of air production capacity left, but I don't have the engines for it. I have some UZ. When it comes to tank and aircraft increased production, I still have a couple of national focuses here that's going to give me tank production and aircraft production and Luftwaffe expansion production. So instead of building, I can basically get a couple of free production increases through national focuses. So I guess it's not hopeless, but I felt that I wanted a better result. I'm not gonna show you, but the intelligence reports, says that the Soviets have 3 to 5 million troops. It doesn't really say. It doesn't say 6 million. It says the same as at start of Barbarossa, 3 to 5 million. I don't know. So there we go. 90 stability. I lost a lot of, I've been fighting and had a lot of losses, and that takes down my war sport. So I guess that's why I'm fairly low with that. Am I worried about 500,000 manpower? Not now, but it's not gonna last forever the way I play. Food is doing okay, even though, as I mentioned last time, I increased my lack of food, my diet to the highest rating here. But I'm subsidizing with some civilian factories all of my allies in Europe. So it's not because I am producing the food, I'm importing them from neighbors. As you can see, I am at 1100 factories, which is good. It's really good. That is probably... What am I doing with all that production? Well, you tell me. Building more factories now. Finally, after building ports in Libya, railroads in Poland and Russia, oil and rubber production, everything. I've been building everything except military production. It's time for totale Krieg now. Yeah, I'm constantly starved of command power. I have a lot of generals that need traits assigned, and I have a couple of great generals, level 6, that I would like to promote to field marshals. So I'm slowly working on that. But when people say, yeah, I think I know why people say, oh, you have unlimited command power. Oh, don't worry about that. I think I know why. I found out another feature, bug, or exploit, and it's that you can have free planning bonus when standing in a front province without manually setting micro orders, which I've been doing. Look at this. This has been micro hell for me. You need to do it in Black Ice, I thought, to stay competitive. So every province has its own individual attack order to gain planning bonus. But instead, what you do is you take a field marshal, you give him one single... I thought... Why doesn't he have... Where's his... Oh, here it is. He has one single attack order. And then the armies under the generals, they have one single... What the hell? You see, he is doing preparation increases by 2.2% per day, even though I have no attack orders for this army. All he's got is a garrison or area defense order set in Bern. Let's see here. There it is, yeah. So what you do is, first you give your generals under the field marshal a garrison order in a non-accessible province. Switzerland works, or the south of Africa works. So these troops are never going to be able to relocate there. And then instead you give the field marshal one single attack order, and as long as these armies and divisions stand in a frontal province, they're gonna automatically... So you don't have to... They don't move around, and which I hate. I hate the order system in Hearts of Iron. I despise it. It's horrible. Well, all you have now are these long dotted lines, which are annoying, but I can live with that. So I lost my train of thought there. The hell was I okay, I was doing the overview here. Right. I use a lot of army experience to rearrange my divisions and, make a specific division for the French tanks here and there, and maybe upgrade a little bit of assigning a designer or improving an equipment type. Oh, I'm swimming in army experience. Nope, doesn't happen to me. I am severely restrained. I am restrained by political power as well. Yes, I have probably the setup I want now with laws and ministers and headquarters, etc. So I don't need it for that. I actually managed to spend a little bit on medals for troops. I can show you. I have invested in medals for a bunch of elite, well, not elites particularly, but sometimes infantry divisions, and upgraded them with the breakthrough trait, and I put a battalion of medium assault guns in there, giving them 5% hardness and a little bit of armor 10. It's going to be penetrated, but the hardness counts, right? So they're a little bit better than your standard average. I'll show you my infantry division here, which has 4 artillery and 9 infantry and 1 anti-tank. So this is my standard infantry. So I improved it a little bit and given it a medium assault gun. I had a lot of them in stock. I wanted to use them, so I made I know, fuel consuming, but I try to keep them in high supply areas. So I have 2 plus 10, a dozen of these elite divisions and they all have breakthrough metal traits. So I invested a bit of PP in creating like a. And so if you see a yellow division here in the front line, you know it's better than average at attacking. But I am low on medium assault guns after the summer. Of course, I am low on everything. So even they are running out of equipment. I'm okay with energy. My logistics are fulfilled. I do have enough heavy trucks. I need 9,000 and I have 10,000 in the stockpile. You know, I probably should take down my 20 factories from heavy trucks and do something else with it. But I really, 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 really want to have enough heavy trucks. So I guess I don't dare do that. But it's nice to see my... You know, you can't blame... I have enough trains and I have enough heavy trucks. That is not why I'm failing at waging blitzkrieg this campaign. Whew. Anything else? Intelligence. I'm using my spies mostly to gain intelligence on the Eastern Front because I need every advantage I can get when fighting there. A little bit of unrest suppression. Yeah, okay, I'll brag a bit. Check this out. I have over 40% in France, I have over 40% in Czechoslovakia, and now I have over 40% in Poland as well. At 40%, you get a reorganized workforce, and it gives you 10% local factories, which is probably one of the reasons I have so many factories, 1100. And the way to do that is by, if you're a beginner, or if you don't know, is to put civilian oversight wherever you can, which makes you use less garrisons and also increase your compliance a bit faster. Now I'm hoping, let's see, which is the next, since Poland is plus 40, Poland is at 40, exactly 40%. So that is a reason why I'm suppressing a bit of rebels with spies in Poland, because it's barely moved over 40 here. I guess the Netherlands at 30%, Belgium 27. It's gonna be a long while. It's gonna be a long. The war is probably over before they hit for 40. And I am using the Garrison Corps, which is, I'll show it to you. This is how I decide. I have 25 garrisons with 1 MP. So this is the most cost-efficient way of doing it. All right. So I guess my occupation policies are doing fine. We have what I thought was a nice prisoner of war camp here in Algeria because they weren't pushing, but now I see they are actually pushing me over river into mountains. They're winning. 15th Panzer Division here with a mountain leader. Can I stop them in Algeria? I have 2 proper divisions coming over from from Egypt. I hope that's going to be enough. Then we have France. I have, how many are there? Like 16 these are regiments. Can you see how many troops are in them? No, you can't. Oh, 5k each. It's only 3 battalions and 1 artillery battalion. So they're not gonna stop anything. They're basically there for show. So I have nothing in France. I have some Danish really bad divisions in Norway. And now I saw that the US has landed here in Finnmark. I guess I'm glad they're here and not in France. Because I think they're just going to be starving here against the Finns. Good riddance. And wait, am I? Yeah, I'm trying to. Oh, wait. I am invading Arkhangelsk. But I'm using a Danish crap division. I guess I was. Oh, look at this. 5 soft attack. Yeah, I'm not going to take Arkhangelsk. But I should have put Marines, proper Marines up here. And try to sneak into Arkhangelsk. Instead of just standing, watching. I actually did land Marines. Yeah, I snagged, was it Derna or Tobruk during my push here when I encircled the 20 divisions. So having Marines cross the Mediterranean was risky and I took a lot of losses, but it kind of paid off actually. So I guess it's not crazy to threaten these ports as well. I guess I'd rather take these ports than Arkhangelsk. But it's a sneaky little trick if you want to go all out in Russia. I managed to get Finland into the war. They're still there. They have nice equipment. Actually, all my minor allies are doing fine when it comes to equipment. Last I checked, at least. I mean, come on, give me some of those 8,000 rifles you got there. Except, of course, Italy, which has been bleeding themselves dry in the desert with the attrition. So I've had help eating supplies on the Eastern Front by the Romanians and the Hungarians, but they're actually helpful holding the line as well. I'll show you how to make them fight for you. So if you play this and you don't do anything and change any settings, they're just going to sit in their home country. You go into Kingdom Hungary diplomacy settings, go to counter defense settings, and you make them help the German Reich in Asia and Europe. Don't know quite where Asia begins and Europe ends. Maybe this is Europe. I should ask someone. Tell me if you know in the comments. Naval wise, I'm doing okay. You know, Navy is not important. I have lost a lot of coastal submarines in the Mediterranean by all the killer stacks of the UK ships running around there. But that has kept them busy. Now they're almost all gone. And I've sunk a decent amount of convoys in the Mediterranean. I have a decent force of naval bombers keeping the central. As you can see, I have 50 naval bombers in every province here, so that's nice. So I guess I'm doing okay with the naval war in the Mediterranean. But the Italians have taken heavier losses than the UK. So Italy is not only losing Ethiopia, they're also losing the ground and naval war. And I think they are losing the air war as well, because last I checked, the UK, they can afford to have 2,000 fighters wherever they want. And fighters. I don't know where they're now. In Morocco. I don't know where their UK fighters are now. But anyway, they have a shit ton. And Italy has been getting clobbered by the Royal Air Force. And now I am slowly starting to introduce my level 4 long range, high quality Uber submarines. So here we are. So these guys, class 9A, these guys with only 13.3 sub-visibility, they basically never die. And with 48 torpedo attack, they basically one-shot convoys. So from now on, it's gonna just get worse for the allies. I have the doctrines, I have experienced leaders, and now I'm also getting the great submarines. I only have 35 dockyards, and I'm stupidly enough, I am building a second line of battleships. I think this was a mistake. I think I built the Scharnhorst and Gneisenau, and then somehow I put this on unlimited, so they started building the second, and I thought it was the first line of construction, so I started building a second one. April 43, great, but I'm not gonna abandon them now, right? I'm gonna complete September. Okay, so I don't have, I missed a lot of submarine production. And my fun little side note here is my cruiser force that I built pre-war. Look at the experience of these guys. And I even, Rudolf von Brudermann here, which is my one spotter blockade runner leader, he started level 1. He's level 4 now. Look at all his... I know, I'm missing the command power to make him even better. And they've been sinking a ton of escorts and destroyers. So they certainly been worthwhile. And now I have them operating east of Africa. How cool is that? Huh? See, they're sinking convoys too. Yeah, so I guess I'm about to abandon the Mediterranean until I can get the class 4 coastal submarines getting a little bit in there. They are a lot less visible. But, you know, I don't know. I probably haven't emptied out the UK convoy pool yet, but 1600 convoys during this year, 1800 in total. I'm doing okay on the naval war. Could have been better. I could have had fewer losses by not contesting the Mediterranean, but I just felt I had to distract the UK. I think it helps Japan, which is doing okay, I guess. Did they capitulate Burma? I really don't follow the war over in Japan, but you know, if the UK keeps almost their entire heavy battle fleets in the Mediterranean, just killing my coastal submarines, that's a pretty good trade-off, just opportunity-wise. See here, here's one of the, I don't know, Barry. It's only one, but they have 5 carriers and 7 battleships in some Death Star stack around here. Anything else about Navy? So basically for free, I've disrupted the UK convoys quite a lot. Yeah, I have a second surface raiding force here, very experienced as well, because they've been killing a lot of Gneisenau and a couple of older light cruisers. Now they're supporting the invasion in Murmansk, but usually they're riding up here in the very north because I'm scared of the British home fleet coming to get me. But the AI never does that. It's always fighting in the Mediterranean. So I was afraid these guys were gonna get sunk. If you want to exploit the AI behavior, you should probably send out surface raiders earlier if you're not scared of losing them. So that's Navy and that's Air. Yeah, I'm probably playing a bit non-optimal with only 50 fighter factories because I have a couple of CAS, tactical bombers, flying boats and naval bombers, modern flying naval bombers, even recon, and a couple of long-range and short-range transport planes. So I'm diversifying because I find it's fun, it gives flavor, it's chrome, it's historical gameplay, but it's suboptimal playing this way. 50 factories has been enough to give me green air mostly in Russia. If it's not green air, it's probably more weather, distance, air bases, supply than actually quantity and quality of fighters. I can't remember, but I had more factories in another playthrough, and I definitely had more air because you get less attrition by having overwhelming numbers. You shoot down the enemy faster, so you never... Now I've been caught in a war of attrition that I wasn't strong enough to really overwhelm, which means I've been taking long-term attrition. So that means my air force is smaller. But if I had more factories on air force, that would not have worked in this game, in this playthrough. It would not. I would have been so much further behind on ground equipment that I would have lost the game. So I guess I'll try to wrap up here. I'm always long-winded. Conclusion. The summer offensive of 1942 has been what I deem a failure. We have not reached Baku. We have not captured Stalingrad. We have not taken Saratov. We are overextended when it comes to supplies and equipment. We are worn down. We did nice counter-offensives during the spring, and the Soviets suffered maybe 40 divisions, but since then we barely managed to make any pockets at all. So my plan now is to rest up, consolidate, and hopefully, I'm gonna be opportunistic up here. If they move towards my supply line here, to the Saratov supply depot, I'll respond with my strong panzer forces here and try to create in a fluid situation instead of pushing his strong lines out of supply here. I'm resting and refitting after many weeks of offensive to reach here. In the south, I'm going to try to nibble off small pockets and push, and hopefully I can grab this supply depot or even push to Mostok supply depot, because I would like to get to Baku. Yes, I have not mentioned fuel and oil yet. I have been forced to waste a lot of transports to import oil from Venezuela and Peru, and that is all fine and dandy for a very long while because you lose not that many transports. But when you're down to 260, you start realizing that this is not a long-term solution, not forever. So therefore, and as you can see, I am green oil. But I'm kind of low, and I don't feel like building more rubber and fuel refineries because they're very expensive. I have another one going here. So my plan is to conquer Baku and forever settle my fuel and oil problems. So I guess medium challenge, short to long term, is the fuel situation. But I consider the deficit of tanks and ground equipment to be my main challenges right now. And my lack of offensive punch and the size of the Soviet army and being stretched in Morocco, Norway, and not being able to break through in Egypt. Yeah, that's a lot of challenges there. Positive. My industry production is going to increase from here on, so I can increase the quality. Screw the losses. 1 million, who cares? Alright, what else did I want to show you? I am in the red with a lot of equipment categories, but now after disbanding and balancing my factories around, there are no huge deficits. Like 1 to 2 months of production, I should be on green surplus, and maybe I can start. See, I even have 80 machine guns in storage. So yeah, transport trucks, I lack 2,500, but it was only going to be 83 days to re-equip my trucks lost from the summer offensive. That's great. I lack 2,000 jeeps, Kubelwagen. It's gonna take 5 months. This is not good. Yeah, my main challenge is to balance the size of my army to my equipment. Alright, that's a long-winded overview of Black Ice. I could never ever go back to playing vanilla after playing Black Ice. It's so much better. It makes it into a somewhat faulty, but that is the ground game design. But the mod is excellent. I want to give a shout out to the mod designers to making Hearts of Iron into a proper war game where you actually have to think of equipment and supply instead of just push over a very easy AI. I don't want to go back to vanilla. So anyways, let me know in the comments if you ever tried Black Ice and what did you think it. Yes, it makes you cry. It's very hard, but I like a challenge. So, and this campaign is, I'm having a lot of fun, even though I am sometimes frustrated by the difficulty of achieving my results. You need to play almost a perfect game to get it rolling and overwhelm the Soviets and actually win the war. But I've set out to play Black Ice. I want to experience the end of the war and kind of losing and having the Western and Soviet allies push you back towards Germany. So in a way, it wouldn't be the worst if I lose this war and I get to play into 44-45 and play a historical game where I defend a shrinking frontage with invasions. I'm looking forward to see what happens in this. If I can grab Baku, I'm going to be very happy. Oh yeah, one last thing. Tehran capitulated and joined the Allies. Last time they joined the Axis. So even that is a negative for me. Right. Thanks for your patience and watching all the way to the end. Don't forget to like and subscribe. I learned that you need to say. And yeah, hope you have a good day. See you in the next one. Bye-bye.